happy election day. Welcome in. Today, let's talk about co-creative leadership and what that means. Oddly enough, I feel like there's a sense of calmness, peace, hope. Been meditating on the color green, meditating on the color white, noticing shifts and staying out of judgment. And I think, to segue ourselves from yesterday's theme centered on self. Knowledge of who you are is where we're going to start. Had an interesting, last couple of hours I got to sit through. Just came out of one online presentation group or something or other that just gave me that sense of co-creation, of peace, of being seen, of safety, and just it feels much better. Much better. So let's get started. I took some notes. We'll dive into, new chapter. We'll start there. And then if we have to, we'll come back into Rider Waite. If you have questions, you can ask, jump on. I am complete. There's a word for us to kind of ground ourselves into this co-creative aspect, because if we're talking about co-creation and leadership and what does that look like, no reductionist thinking. That one came through out of the meditation. No reductionist thinking. We have really complex issues to solve here, and it's very important to know thyself and open yourself up to other ideas, other ways of thinking, other modalities, and being ready to shift gears into things. And yes, I think as far as whatever angst, fear, tensions, whatever that are kind of coming to head with this American election, the important thing is to picture a bright future and a peaceful space for all people, and so we can collectively step into that. As we're going through a paradigm shift, we're shifting a paradigm, and in order to shift a paradigm, we have to co-create that vision. And so if we're all envisioning something catastrophic and horrific, that's what that is going to be. But if we are co-creating and creating something together, and we're envisioning and amassing this picture of what life can be like as we evolve through things consciously, then great, okay. What else? Interbeing. What is the interbeing? Yesterday's really long reading. The in factor, internal reflection, looking inward as far as connecting to higher purpose, higher self is super important. Speaking in complexity, I think, is going to be very important here as well. What are we creating? We're co-creating an ecology of communication, how we communicate, I almost want to say economy of communication too, but this is more environmentally based. And I feel like I focus a lot on, especially from a behavioral lens, on the influence of the environment shaping our sense of self and our identity. Part of that environment is other people. And the way we communicate with other people and the way we relate to other people, if we're going to be co-creative, is incredibly important. I think another theme kind of popping out of all of this today is this sense of emergency, or people going into emergency or preparing for emergency situations. In the last 5, 6, maybe 7 years or so, the last 7-year cycle has been very much about preparation and being prepared in a case of emergency. But how interesting that Emergency also sounds like emergence. So through this complex situation that is happening in our political ecology, right, we're anticipating emergency situations kind of across the globe in response to, a retaliation to, a reaction to all of this. And this morning I don't get that sense as much. What word comes out of emergency? Emergence. Right? We're being birthed into something. We're emerging into a new age, a new way of thinking, a new way of being, a new way of interrelating with ourselves and with others, right? We're shifting a whole paradigm. And that can be, if you're not prepared for shifts, can be incredibly traumatic, especially if you're not prepared. But that preparation doesn't always look like food and toilet paper, right? I mean, that looks a lot like the internal stuff, right? There was one woman in this group space before this. Emergency sounds a lot like emerge and see. See what's going on. See other people. Connect with other people's perceptions. Put yourself in other people's shoes. And maybe that's that angst or that anticipation that we're feeling or experiencing, or at least that I'm tapped into, is that emergence. We're emerging to be able to see things as they really are. That's the conscious part of it, right? Kindness and curiosity are going to be very important. If not, right, the other side of the co-creative leadership, if we don't have co-creative leadership, we come back into this energy again, of this destructive energy of trying to hold people back. The seduction, the manipulation, the deception, right, and trying to prevent things from happening. And this whole like, oh, red or blue, red or blue, red or blue. My answer is white and green. White and green. White, animal, nature, purity, life, living beings. Green, the trees, the nature, right? The things that are destroying us are the red and the blue. That divisive nature. It's not co-creative if you're living in a dualistic environment, right? It's calling for this eruption, this emergence, this change, this alchemization. And it's going to be difficult. The most painful part about the co-creative conscious aspect of all of this and seeing things different is the pain of letting go of who you think you are, or who you were told you are. We have multiple contextual pressures pushing on at us at any point in time, right? So with all of these pressures and the multi-contextual pressures, it's important to have this emotional connection to spirit, right? Be able to receive the information or to send all of this information up into an etheric realm where it can be channeled. And I think a lot of what I talk about in this space is innovation and creativity and tapping into the morphic resonance field to be able to bring in solutions to problems, new solutions. And in this group space that I was in before this, and it was focused on identity, which felt appropriate from yesterday and today. The breakout groups. Well, I got placed in, I was placed in with people, at least 20, 30 years older than I am. And I thought to myself, what an interesting opportunity to present some thoughts in regards to where I'm at in this cultivation of conscious co-creative communities and culture. Right? And there was an emphasis, I think, within this space to focus on the wheel of fortune keeps coming up, or even the wheel is here. I mean, this has an arc within a wheel. This has a wheel here too. And that wheel has to do with wholeness and these ancient traditions, and something that has lived on through ancient times from the beginning of mankind, probably, or a gregarious species, is ancient traditions, right? These ancient traditions that allow us to connect to the earth and allow us to harvest things and connect to other people and to connect to things beyond our intentions, right? A lot of these ancient traditions revolve around fire, right? Uniting around fire in order to alchemize a lot of these energies. I'm going to look more at this, the Six of Swords here in a little bit as we get into it. But I think in regards to ancient traditions, cultures, co-creating this leadership part of it, one of the questions that stood out for me in this meditation, who can I be when I'm with you, right? The environment changes who we are. So when we, especially in emergency situations or in these situations where we're called to work together and develop new solutions with whoever's in our environment, with whatever that we have, right? We learn by interacting and engaging with these other people that we have other sides of ourselves that come out, right? Who am I when I interact with you? I think one of the other bits of information that's kind of been on repeat this morning is brokenness. And we see brokenness, broke, as something negative connotation, as something that's bad. And there's so many people that are so broken right now. But instead of looking at it like it's a problem or this like heinous crime against humanity or something like that, this brokenness that is occurring is breaking the self up into various pieces so that as we come together in a co-creative space, these pieces can fit together in new ways. I don't know if it's an aspect of innovation or if it's, again, things not being exactly as they are, not what they seem to be, something in that innovation bringing us back to these ancient traditions. I don't want to call it ritual. That has some interesting connotation, but ceremony and being able to connect in such a way. And I think, what was it? She was talking about, like, in emergency situations, like thinking of, like, the Titanic sinking or a boat sinking, and here we are, 100 people, and all the boats that we have only fit 50 people, so how do we discern who gets to go? How do we include ethics into this co-creative aspect? You know, and then my mind goes to the story of the Titanic and the people sinking in the water and the limits and the limitations, and she comes up with a solution that I wouldn't have thought about. She's like, we have all these people and we have all of these boats, but I'm not leaving anybody behind, you know? We can tie clothes together, we can connect everybody, we can take turns swimming, you know, we'll find ways of getting through this together. Even though there's these limits of boats, it's fear, right? It's like going into brickstorming. Just because you have a boat that holds so many people, you're going to need people to hold up the boat and to guide things. Or it's almost like in a co-creative leadership, like a dog sled comes to mind, or it's like if we're taking turns swimming, pulling the boat, you know, whoever's in front, or like birds flying in migration too, they take turns. Because whoever is at the forefront and is pushing through that, right, like this shape, whoever is cutting through that, they take a lot of force, blunt force, you know, it rounds it out and it doesn't cut through things. But if we cycle through and we shift that, then we keep that edge sharp. So as we traverse, navigate, go from one place to another, we're all going together, we're all equally balanced, there's an equal distribution of energy, right? And things are co-created. Seems pretty simple. But we have all these layers of identity, right? Here's our star. We are the star, we are the light. This came through for us yesterday as well. But in our identities, we have multiple layers of that. I'm not just my name, I'm not just a woman, I'm not just a mom. I thought that was really interesting after I had my son. When, you know, people would introduce me before, oh, this is Kelsey, she did la 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 la, right? All of a sudden now that I have this baby, then that identity goes away, and it's like, oh, this is Axe's mom. Like, Axe's mom has a name. Axe's mom is more than just Axe's mom, and then to be reduced into one identity, into one role, was very squashing. It didn't feel good. It still bothers me, and that was like 9 years ago, you know? Like, it's frustrating. Kitty, he wants to go outside. No, you have to stay inside. But this kaleidoscope of brokenness, oh, I mean, even in this, too, there's a kaleidoscope of brokenness in here. There's all these parts and pieces that come together to create something new. Oh, I wonder if I can find it in my Deviant Moon deck. There's a card in here. I think it's one of the pages, but I think it visualizes what I'm talking about in a more human way versus this like spiritual star thing. Yeah, you are a page. It'd be easy to find, right? So parts and pieces, the different puzzle pieces coming together to create an aspect of something. It's the co-creative leader. It's multiple people coming together as one entity. It's not just one person at the forefront of something. And I think maybe something within this paradigm shift in regards to the way we're relating to the politics, right? It's this or that, him or her, black or white, you know, like blue or red. Jackass or fucking elephant. Like, but we're coming out of the darkness of this all. We can be multiple things, but I think we get lazy and we forget that these people aren't being leaders so they can do things for us, right? So that we can just tune out and shut off and whatever. They're in this position because they work for us. We are the ones leading where those so-called leaders go, right? It's all a big puppet show, this whole thing, all of this conflict, you know, but we do this. We set the scene. We are the ones, the puppets, underneath this facade, underneath this, that are giving ourselves something to entertain ourselves with, right? It's like we're bored. And so we're creating this emergency in order to be able to emerge. Layers of identity. Improvisation is here as well. Maybe that's part of this one too, is the improvising. It's not so much about innovating and doing something new, but we're improvising. We're taking it as it comes. This isn't an ego that's directed with a certain agenda. That's why I do these videos this way, because this gives me an improvisational way of being able to relate to and to communicate some of these really complex themes. Because, I mean, I could talk about this all day long, and I could, you know, fabricate something or orchestrate something in such a way that it comes across in a more of a lecture form. But it doesn't feel organic. It doesn't feel like a way of connecting and relating, because I'm not trying to tell you, right? You come into this space so that we can show each other what's going on. We can shine the light on all these different perspectives and these different viewpoints and be able to envision something that is effective for all of us, right? Some of these parts and pieces and these aspects of things might, I don't want to say get left behind, but it's like dropping the things that are no longer important. We're co-creating, right? We're connected to nature. We're connected to the earth. We're contemplating. She's very consciously working with the moon and the plants and the earth and her body and her mind to grow something new, to cultivate, right? We're bringing something into existence so that we can harvest it for a later time. It just takes a lot of hard work. I really love this deck so much. I'll put this guy out on top, the artist, the co-creator, right? Because funny in this picture, if you just glance at it, it's like, oh, guy's like, painting a picture, la la la. But this is co-creative. He's both sides, right? Multiple things. There's at least one person or multiple people back here holding up the canvas, plus he's representing people within this canvas as well. All of these things cannot exist independently of each other. They exist because of each other. They all serve a certain or a specific function. That kind of came through yesterday too. There's a certain unique quality to us being at a certain place at a certain time that never again will ever happen. And this 10 discs, we wanted to pop out in that other part of it too. The co-creative, harmonious aspect that unifies and brings all of these things together. And I don't know that it's one or the other. It's an influence of all of us. Because I think, right, we have these two represented parties. It's like whoever is chosen or whatever is going to incite some sort of reaction or riot in one side or the other. Or not. I mean, it doesn't have to. I think there are a lot of people that want to find a reason to just to fight, release pain, anger, rage, process, whatever all that is about. But again, that's not co-creative, that's destructive, and we're not about doing this thing that is destructive, but it's important to also be prepared, and to be on guard, and to be protected. She's got her, I want to say like throat chakra kind of guarded here. So the way we communicate, it's illuminating the communicative aspect of it, the way we communicate with each other. Super, super important. Oh, here's our Wheel of Fortune, see? Ancient tradition, wheel, wholeness. I like the way the Wheel of Fortune is represented in this card because it feels like wholeness. There's multiple aspects going on. There's a lot of different things going on. The lungs and the ribs are here. So what holds in our heart, what allows us to breathe, what gives us life, right? Is wholeness. Being able to integrate all of these things together. Who can I be when I'm with you? What can we bring out in each other? That's why I like doing this work as a catalyst, because it's interesting to see what we bring out in each other, given the opportunities to come together, to communicate, to share stories, to create a space of emotional safety and non-judgment and holding and validating. People want to be seen, they want to be seen for who they are and what their experiences have been. They don't want to be ridiculed and humiliated and shunned for being different. If we're going to be co-creative, then it's going to be inclusive, which means opening your fucking minds to other people's points of view without trying to project or control the way other people think, feel, do, so on and so forth. And so our response to this paradigm shift, because whether we want to believe it or not, this political experience that we're having right now is a paradigm shift. It's shifting a paradigm. And in watching some of the news clips this morning, the ongoing election updates and whatnot, there was a clip of one of the candidates where the energy felt a lot more grounded. It felt a lot more matured. There was something to it that was much more radically accepting of whatever the outcome is. Just because somebody is put in front of the line doesn't mean you still can't be the leader of a movement in lieu of that, in spite of that, outside of that system. I could tell, I'm not going to tell you who my prediction is, who I'm predicting will win, or what I think the outcome will be. But I've got a pretty strong picture in mind of how things are going to go. And I think it's going to be a lot easier than we think. We're going to stay in this space of gratitude for our life and our interconnectedness and for our wholeness. And if we stay in this space, and instead of this space of entitlement, what do I get out of it, I, me, mine, what is there to worry about? You know? Like, what do you mean, what is there to worry about? I got all kinds of worries going on in my head, and, I feel something cracking, and I feel something beginning to emerge, and I don't know what it is yet, and it's a little nerve-wracking, right? And he's got his heart guarded, and he's got his eyes closed, and it's also coming out of his thought forms. It's manifesting out of these belief systems. So shifting these belief systems is going to be radically important. It can be a quick shift. It can be a changed overnight. And this is going to be one of those things, or if you're listening into this today and you're absorbing it now, when you wake up in the morning, you're going to go, something shifted, something changed, right? The magician. We can take this quantum leap here together in this space to navigate things in a new way, in a different way. It's going to require a lot of strength. It's going to require a lot of fortitude. It's going to require a lot of emotional resilience, forward thinking, solution-based thinking, right? If we are a catalyst for this paradigm shift, right, ultimately what comes out of this combination, or what comes out of this alchemical mix, is a solution. It's a holistic solution, and it's not going to be one that I think is right, that you think is right. This is going to require us coming together in groups in non-judgmental spaces and sharing our stories and sharing our experiences. And from that aspect, when we begin to have these hidden parts of self emerge out of us because we're provided a container and persons we've never been presented with before, out from this experience, and what can come out of this experience can be something bigger and better than we can ever imagine for ourselves. And so to hold on to that energy, to hold on to that groundedness, kind of despite all the chaos that's going around, it's fucking important. I just finished watching the series Chaos last night. At least the first part of it. And at the very end of it, I thought, how ironic that chaos is the one bringing the souls back into the bodies. Chaos is the one that can put the souls back into earth. What is emerging from this emergency? What is coming out of this? Knowledge, new life, hope, opportunity. I feel like in the last few years, maybe the last year especially, I mean, even in the last couple of weeks, couple of months, just the amount of deaths that have happened, the amount of loss that has happened, almost feels like a buffer for something more radical to kind of tame that down a bit, because people are getting so tired of loss, of losing, of death, of destruction, of this monotony and redundancy in this pattern. Or came out in the meditation group, the grid system. We're very locked into grid thinking, into the box. from our houses and these fucking stupid homeownership associations, right? I was thinking about that yesterday when there's like the leaf blowers going in front of all the houses and, the condos across the street here. And it's a beautiful, beautiful neighborhood. It's well taken care of. But at what cost? There was a cost to peace in that. There was very much what felt like gridding, putting things into a box, putting things into a manageable container to be able to just ship it and move it around or to control things. And that grid expands beyond the house, the square box that so many people, at least here in this country, tend to live in, right? A box, tube, container stifles and limits the energetic capacity, that quantum mechanical natural aspect that comes out of our electromagnetic frequency, out of our torus fields. We take all that energy and we box it in and we prevent it from being able to connect. And then we further box it into a grid within cities, like Vegas comes to mind, because it's just very much rows going this way and then rows going this way. Almost the whole thing, just one big giant grid, and can't really get lost. You just kind of pick a direction and you go that way and then that way, or you go that way and then that way. It's easy to navigate. But at what cost? At what expense? What is being harvested from you? And that illusion aspect, again, too, of the gods and the higher powers and reaching out to, the things that aren't quite what they seem in that realm of chaos. On that show, it's on Netflix. It's a series, it's like a modern rendition of like ancient Greek gods kind of like merged into this current realm that we have. And it's very bizarre, but really got me thinking as to how life really is, because these are showing us how things really are, but just kind of encoded in these very metaphorical representations. And there's a theme that keeps popping up of like the firmament, the containers, the things that limit us, what happens after this life. And in chaos, or in like the old 60s, 70s movies, Logan's Run or whatever, where they're talking about these alternative systems, there's like this similar theme of renewal, which is interesting because we talked a little bit about self-care yesterday in the self-care industry and how that perpetuates itself to keep you sick. Right? You have to keep feeding into this self-care thing by being a consumer, and that's kind of opposite of what should be done. And in this, how do you want to say, these parapsychosocial communities, I don't really know how to, alternative realities or civilization concepts. There's this idea of if you play along, everything is peaceful, good, it has its aspect. If you're good and you do your connection, then you get to go to renewal. If you play along, then you get to be renewed. And people are like, wow, I'm going to be renewed and I'm going to come back again. And they go into this place where they're in such a disillusionment where they think that they, what's coming out on the other side is a new opportunity, a new rebirth, a new something. But then once they, once they get to this renewal phase, right, they both have to transmit or trespass or cross over this energetic field where ultimately in both they're zapped, they're killed. The bodies are deteriorated and the soul, the energy, the life force is absorbed out of them. That is being used to uphold systems that are repressing things. So we're being sold this idea that if we just do this and we go through this, then we get to have this on the other side of that. That shows up in so many different ways in modern culture. But it's a lie. Chaos will breathe life back into things. thinking outside of the box and doing things a little bit differently is going to be important. So let's talk about pyramids and teepees. What shapes and structures can energize the triangle, the point, right? These are energetic centers because they work with the energetic fields in such a way to connect all the parts and the pieces together, to unify in a co-creative way. This one too also has it. 3 discs, 3 cups. I wonder if the other ones also kind of have these force fields. You know, what came through in the meditation too. It's not just a one-sided thing. It's not just a two-sided thing. There are at least 3 sides to things. And we're forced into this dual aspect in nature where we feel like we have to choose this or we have to choose that. Forgetting that there's also a third option, or a fourth option, or fifth. There's multiple options to this. It's not just one or the other. There are very many faceted viewpoints that we can take, but people are choosing to participate in this system, in this, dare I say it, demonic system that fuels itself based on blood, on that life force, where it's taking this multi-dimensional reality and it's putting it into a 2-dimensional aspect in order to give power to things that aren't us. 3 wands. I was wondering what some of the other 3s was looking like too. This almost reminds me of like teepee sticks or something. Do I want to look at the 3s in each of them? I mean, I'm curious. I'm very curious. That's something else. Kindness and curiosity. Just be kind and be curious. The moment you start getting into judgmental thinking, is it good? Is it bad? He's good. He's bad. She's awful. He's awful. This, that, the other thing. Judgment, mockery, humiliation, all of that bullshit. Like, get the fuck over yourself, you know? Tell other people who are doing that to you, get the fuck over yourself. We're not doing that here. We're not playing into that aspect. No. We're going to bring in these multidimensional, complex modalities and ways of relating so we can identify with ourselves in a non-dualistic way. That's not in a reductionist way. That's not to say that we have to reduce ourselves to one single thing. And I remember getting into a conversation with an older male friend of my mother's at one point, because, you know, he was like, well, what do you do? Well, I do this, and this. You know, I do a lot. There's not just one thing that I do. You know, I do this. And he's like, well, you know, most people, you know, they just do one thing. So what do you do? No, you can't do that. No, you have to be reduced to one thing. Reduce yourself to one thing. I got so frustrated, so mad. I left the room. I never want to have a conversation. I never want to see this person again in my life. I don't want to be reduced. I am not just one thing. I am multiple things. I am capable of doing many things. And to limit that seems to be an injustice, a disservice to humanity. It seems to be one of those things where, like, I turn my back on myself, or I'm somehow not allowed to be, you know, have to conform and fit into this box and go into this grid thinking, like, no, thank you. I don't have to participate. I don't have to fight it. There's no sense in trying to go into the system and trying to fight it and tear it down from the inside out. It's just not going to work. It's designed for you to go in and fight it. It wants you to fight it. It wants to create that bloodlust and suffering. It wants to focus on that greed and that envy and the jealousy and the hate and all of that. You don't have to fight it, because then you're just feeding it, right? You can choose not to participate, or you can choose to participate in a more authentic way that relates to your true nature, to your highest self. I'm trying to look for this other 3. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. I love the number 3. I love the number 7. 7 swords is here. Where are you? Oh, it's right in front of me. And it's split into 2 piles. It's on the top of the little pile sitting on my lap. I'm going through the big pile looking for it. It's right fucking in front of me. Right in that 3. This is upholding balance and upholding justice and protection and having these multi-sided things, but stopping and not participating. No, I'm not doing this. We're not here to fight each other. We're here to co-create. We're here to put all of these broken pieces of us. We're all fucking broken in one way or another. This system is designed to break us down, right? To reduce us. So when we start to integrate all of these things and we start to look at things from a more complex perspective, right, we can then tell a more accurate story. We can then tell a more, paint a more accurate picture of what this life is, what this life means, and how interesting too, what this is making me think of. In this meditation group, in this space this morning, just before this, bring up art, and another lady mentions how in experiencing artwork, one period of time, it's all abstract and how it just doesn't make any sense. And then, the complaint about the modern AI artwork is how it's just this vivid color, and that's not really how things are, but everything is made up of light and these very vivid colors, right? And the intensity of that color is in relation to how close or how far we are from something, from the atmospheric perspective. I think of perspective a lot, especially in talking about these cubes and these boxes, right? 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, multiple point perspective views of how to render something. Color can give us that as well, right? And again, things aren't what we think that they are. And typically, people would think that, as things get further away, they get darker, and as things get closer, they get brighter. But that's not true in atmospheric perspective. As things get further away in atmospheric perspective, they get lighter, they get more pastel, right? They're much more soft and muted tones. It's very diluted by the air in the atmosphere, so the light and the color isn't as concentrated, whereas when things are right up close to you and right in front of you, they're very dark. And then somewhere in that middle ground is where you get that vibrancy, and somewhere in that middle ground is all of the light. Like in this video thing where you have the fractaled light, right? White light is not just white light. You put a prism in there, and boom, all of a sudden you have these very pure, bright, vivid colors. It's the mixture and the combination of all of these colors that give us the grays, that give us the browns. Let's look at these 3s. And these 3 different layers, right? If we're in this 3rd dimension and we're trying to get to the 5th dimension, so on and so forth, or we're elevating ourselves. Let's do 3 cups first, just because I opened to it. I'll show you. Love crowned and triumphant, the 3 of Cups is a celebration of the love you receive and give to those around you. That's what co-creative aspect is. It's sharing the love and receiving it as well. Note so, right? This card represents free-flowing support and an abundance of goodwill. As you have given, so shall you receive. Your community celebrates and supports you, and you feel strong for having found this support. Oh my gosh, yes, this morning. And one of my thoughts when the session was closing off was how much I miss grad school. I miss college. I miss being in this intellectually stimulating environment of integrating all of these multiple viewpoints together, and just the ways of relating and building relationships within these spaces have been incredibly profound. And it's sad to me that there are so many people who look at college, or people who go to college, as being stupid, and they just want to go because they just want to make money. And maybe that's true for some, but if I can be a representative for others, going to college has nothing to do with wanting to make more money. It has nothing to do with money. It has more to do with an access to knowledge, being provided these opportunities to have conversations from all of these multiple perspectives in order to get a more complex understanding view of who I am and what it is that I'm capable of. Limitless. The limitless possibilities, right? Let's talk about the 3 discs. Progress through collaboration. A supportive working environment, equitable systems of growth that disenfranchise no one. This card encourages us to pull up others as we climb. When the 3 of discs appears, building or growth is taking place, leading to tangible results. More work will need to be done, but you are already well on your way to achieving your goal. Things feel tough, bad, heavy, complex, all of this, blah, 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 but it's not like it's bad or it shouldn't happen. It's natural. It's a natural progression of things that have all stemmed out of every other event and circumstance that has come before this. This is inevitable. So as we awaken to this co-creative conscious thing, and we can begin to recognize and we can see the patterns of what's going on, we have an opportunity now to make different choices. There's that word choice again. We can view things from different perspectives. We can see things from different angles. Yes, innovative, perhaps, but the irony in the innovation is nothing is ever created or destroyed. Therefore, all of the information that ever would exist and ever needs to exist already exists up in an atmospheric plasmatic field, or something that our consciousness can tap into and can access to channel in new ideas, concepts, relations, something or other, to be able to integrate into the world as we know it, as it is today, in order to perpetuate it, to keep life flowing, to keep things moving. I mean, we're humans in a human earth, and there's only so much that we can do, but there is so much that we can do, you know? Let's look at our 3 wands. The plan you've made is good, and you should implement it. Progress has been made, and you are ascending towards an idealized goal, so keep going. This card represents self-determination, the attainment of the goal of the expensive feelings. Expand your efforts and horizons. Even if it seems scary, dream bigger, right? Whatever is happening today, through all this, like, it seems really scary, but dream bigger. Whatever is possible is going to be bigger and better than anything you could ever possibly imagine for yourself, because this isn't you imagining this all by yourself. This is all of us imagining something together. So I get to put my piece of imagination in, you get to put your piece of imagination in, they do, we do, all of it. We all get to put all of these pieces together to create this amazing kaleidoscopic interpretation. Perhaps it's an abstraction, but it's pure form, and it's geometric, and it's energy, right? So this Three Swords aspect, what is this Three Swords? Because I think this is where people want to fall into that fear basis. Okay. Loss, disappointment, you've come to the understanding that you can go no further down the path you are currently on, because we're on a paradigm shift. However things have been going up to this point aren't gonna work. They're not gonna keep working. It's not gonna do anything but stagnate and fall apart, and that's just not the order of things. It's that wheel of fortune, you know, the natural progression of things is being able to take the end of one path and to begin something new. But you can't begin something new until something else is ended. And ending it doesn't mean fighting it or killing it or anything like that. It just means stopping it from affecting you, right? It doesn't get to come into you. A tough decision is before you. Do you fight or do you grow? Do you lay down your pride and your ego to maintain a sense of peace? Or is it just going to be easier to fight it and to do the whatever and to just allow things to be impulsive? Because I think it's a lot more difficult to maintain a state of composure, peace, knowing thyself, self-awareness, when there's all this pressure around you trying to form you and mold you into something that you ideally are not, or trying to reduce you. And we aren't reducible, right? We're light, we're vibrant. Our energy transcends us and beyond us. Every interaction we've ever had, every space we've been in has had some sort of energetic impact on whatever environment is going on, no matter how subtle or indifferent, like the butterfly effect or whatever, right? It all exists because it all exists. Painful or harsh words have been spoken that cut to the quick. We're just going to get right to it. Okay, we're just going to put truth up and we're just going to put it out there, and it might hurt to be exposed to a part of you that you've been suppressing or repressing or holding down, or it's gonna hurt when these things start to bubble up, and you gotta fucking acknowledge the shift, right? This is a sobering reality check. Disillusionment from your expectations. Like whatever it is that you're expecting isn't gonna happen. Whatever is going to happen is going to be a collective co-creation, right? And I think if all of us maintain this state of peace, joy, harmony, love, balance, authenticity, realness, this is going to go a whole lot quicker, right? And everything is accelerating right now. And it's like if you can't adapt fast enough, or you can't keep up, or if you're trying to like hold yourself back and slow yourself down, like that's when death happens. That's when all of these things are like, nope, can't take it, not doing it. And then what are you supposed to do when you die? Go walk into the light? Not according to some of the theories I've heard, right? That'll send you to the dark side of the moon where your soul will be reharvested, right? And then fed back into this system, this somehow keeping us enslaved or indoctrinated or whatever all that crap is about. But we forget that we are the light. We are light. Light bodies, we don't exist without light, right? We're little prismatic cellular blobs, right, that emit and transmit and take in and whatever, reflect light. Leadership, taking ownership and responsibility, taking accountability for your actions and your responses without getting defensive and blaming other people or putting it on other people, or I mean, even going into self-blame and like whatever all that's about. Two of Cups. It's allowing the differences to coexist in a harmonious way. Oh, that was another thing. Did I write it down? Where did I put it? Oh, there you are. Indivisible. Okay. We can all exist together in our form, in whatever part of the spectrum we are on. But we are indivisible. This nation is supposed to be indivisible. And it's so divided. I mean, people are even divided within themselves. They don't know which side to pick. Do I pick this side or that side? Right? But they pick a side. They divide themselves from the whole. They divide themselves and separate themselves from people who care about them. In order to what? Appease people who are inflating that ego? Is that what that's about? Maybe. Strength keeps popping up. The strength, the lion heart. Standing in power, being brave. Invocation. Ooh, let's read what invocation is. Because what are we doing within all of this? Within our thoughts, actions, decisions, choices, who are you voting for, not voting for, whatever. You're invoking something for the future. We are invoking something together, right? There's that thing, internal, inner standing, in awakening, right? The interbeing, interoception comes to mind. The I-N, I didn't look up what that was, what the prefix was. Maybe later. Take a moment to clarify your intentions. That's that pause from yesterday. Take a moment, fucking pause, and to just clear it out so you can respond and not react, right? Responsive solutions instead of reactive solutions. Reactive solutions in chemistry can be very explosive. Maybe something is going to explode. Arts, industry, innovation, buildings, bombs. Bombs to the east. Something dark in the west. It's not going to be easy. I think people are going to have a radical time with this shift. People who don't want to shift in that paradigm, who are going to resist the shifting, right? You don't have to participate. We can kind of step over here and then just begin co-creating as this stuff over here resolves itself, however it's going to resolve itself. But we're not going to go in and try to fight it and tear it down and because it's not going to work. We just have to go over here and start working together and co-creating and sharing ideas and coming up with these solutions and doing work and no longer participating in a system the way it has been presented to us and starting to do things more conscientiously. Getting back to the self, being self-preserved, self-sustaining. How can you have a sustainable community if people can't sustain themselves? You can't. We can help each other, right? By our actions and our interactions and the way we interact. those intentions, I suppose. This is a call to connect with your guides. Reach out to the guardian of the first threshold. They will test your resolve and worthiness to cross over. Interesting, so we're talking about that crossing over in that test, right? It's not impossible. There's markers. There's a mark on you that you have, right? That'll help you get through this. It's like a stain on the shirt or like a red letter or something, but one of those markings and indications, it's like the opposite of what it was in World War II, right? They're going to have different indicators and indications, but there's going to be certain markers. It's hard to not want to go into a state of fear and to rather stay in a state of progress. Especially when you recognize something has to crumble before something new can be born. But it's cyclical, like the cycles of the moon. There's the dark sides, the light sides, and it's just cyclical. It's part of it. It's not like this has never happened before. Right? Intimidating at first, the guardian nonetheless holds your best interest and inner growth at heart. Magic is all around us and we only need to tap into it, so open yourself to receive guidance and wisdom. No, this isn't you doing what you think you need to do, right? This is like you humbling yourself and then allowing versus resisting. Trust yourself. Quiet the self-doubt that threatens to overwhelm. Heed your inner wisdom and voice and connect with your intuition. There's that in word again. word in. Trust yourself, right? Remember that you don't need to depend so fully on external validation. Self-worth, that's our whole entire conversation for 2.5 hours yesterday. It's all about self-worth, right? You do not need to depend on external validation. Here you will encounter the guardian of the second threshold who demands that you put all you have learned to use in order to cross. You have everything you need, so face this crossing head on. And I think when it comes to invocation, right, it's just about making the ethical decision. Like back to the Chaos movie, there's a point where Orpheus has to go into the realm of Hades and wants to go retrieve his wife, and he's the first mortal to get into this realm, and he's got to cross the river Styx. And it's interesting the challenges that he has to face along the way in order to get to where he's going, the decisions that he has to make, right? And the first one is when he and this other guy are on a boat with the ferryman, and the ferryman drags him halfway out into the water and is like, okay, well, from this point forward, I can only take one of you. I can't take both of you. And they're like, then why did you drag us both out here? And he's like, fun, something to do. I can take you both back. Otherwise one of you guys got to fight it out, and then whoever is left over is the one that gets to go forward. And so they had made a pact between themselves to trust each other. But here in this opportunity, or presented with this challenge, these two fight. And Orpheus has his marker or whatever, and he throws the first punches and the first blows, and the other guy ends up getting his head into water and is about to drown him. And the ferryman notices the marker. And they're like, fuck, I gotta protect this guy, right? And so the ferryman pushes the other guy off the boat and then saves him out of the water. So even though you might feel like you're drowning and everything's fighting to destroy you, you have a mark and a faith that you're going to be pulled out of this and you're going to be carried on to the next point. Okay? And then the next phase, the ferryman, they get to land, and he ushers him partway again and is just like, okay, I can go with you no further. You have to go from here to there all by yourself, and you have to cross the desert. See ya. And he leaves this guy with no water, with nothing, to cross the desert. And so going through this desert, he's presented with these parts of himself and the challenges and the hallucinations and the desperation and the wanting to give up. And when he's at this point of just like almost dead, in comes this angel, so to speak, or this figure, so to speak, with the thing of water. And he's like, oh, great. Goes and he's like, can I please have some water? And then the guy says to him, well, you have to make a choice again. He's like, you can have water if you want. You can save yourself, right? But if you drink the water, you can't go any further and you can't take your wife. You can't go find her. And he's in the desert, and everywhere he looks around him, there's no references to whenever he's going to get to wherever he's going. He could just be walking forever, and here he has to make this decision. Well, do I keep going on the adventure, or do I drink the water? And then, and then he decides not to drink the water. He decides to go and save his wife. Kismet! Sorry, distraction. And in making this decision to go and save his wife, the guy with the water is like, you made the right decision. Congratulations, you passed the test. And then magically, this door appears, and he's already there, and he's already made it. So oftentimes it can seem like there's no end in sight, but when we make that right decision, when we make the right invocation, the exit's right there. It's right in front of us. And it's not that we didn't see it before, but it's not presented until after we make the right choice, the ethical choice. Okay? The ethics, because as much as all of this is about self-worth and inner reflecting and understanding and whatever, we're talking about co-creating. Working for others, connecting to others, saving others, helping others, overcoming these seemingly complex obstacles in order to reach the point where we're going. Okay? You just have to face it. That's that emerge and see. The emergency part of it is you emerge from this illusion that everything, that's all right, and then you see things as they really are. That can be terrifying for a lot of people. So that being prepared, again, it's not about food and toilet paper and water, although yes. It's more about a mental preparation, a mental resilience. Because there are the people who don't have the food, the toilet paper, or the water. And this guy is the first guy to ever make this happen. Whereas the ones who are most prepared are very limited into their boxed-in thinking, and they're prepared for a certain expectation that doesn't come into fruition. There's nothing else in the new chapter. Let's do one or two more out of this. I'll pull an oracle card, and then we'll close it off for today. I'm trying to keep it kind of short. I got some stuff to do, but stuff to reflect on, stuff to think about in regards to being co-creative. Anything else? What is the possibility and the complexity, being catalysts for each other? Layers of identity, improvisation, preparation for the arbitrary. How do you be prepared for the arbitrary, for the unexpected, right? It's easy to prepare for a trip when you know exactly where it is that you're going. But if you don't know exactly where it is that you're going and you just are where you are because you are what you are, then that mental preparation comes in the fortitude of your consciousness. Okay. Oh, these two. The cat, the dog today. The cat has attention, let me outside. All this, that, the other thing. One of my biggest distractors and biggest pet peeves is the sound of like smacking or licking. Especially when the dog does it. Just start counting. I can't handle it. Sorry about the thing, you know. Dog's tongue deep into her hooter hotter, and it's just, I can't. You know, they just go outside. Just go. Don't hold it in. That's not being prepared. Go outside and put it out, you know. The tower. Things as we know it are collapsing. Red and the blue are both falling. The system is being infused with light, with the star power, right? With the people. The structure in the system as we know it. It's crumbling. I'm getting really distracted by the cat and the dog today, right now. So I will kind of shut this off because I can feel myself kind of starting to disconnect a little bit. It's probably about time to shut off anyway. Justice, right? Liberty and justice for all. One nation, indivisible. Right? Tower, justice. Kitty, no. You gotta go outside now, kitty. They'll leave soon. I'm gonna get eaten by the coyotes. They're hungry, it's winter. You know, be prepared. Page of Swords. Oh, the Page of Swords came up in the other one too, huh? No, there's a different page. It was this deck. Let's look at what the Page of Swords is. The Lovers is here too. The unification of the light and the dark and the third element that kind of throws all the things off. And again, the infusion of light and things coming together. The Devil card keeps coming out here too. Things that are trying to throw us off our balance and to try to keep us from birthing something new and from creating something new. I think that cat's trying to tell me something over there. Alright. The young page roams the city. He is skilled in perceiving hidden truths and secrets. However, he is often underestimated due to his youth. I can relate, right? I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm seeing. I know who I am, right? I am complete. You can't come in here and try to tell me that, no. Kitty. Both you, okay. Just a couple more minutes here, and then I'm gonna go ground myself outside. Oh, I came off of swords and went into wands. Where are you? We'll take some moments here at the end, I think, just to be silent and to meditate and to just pause the background music. So we'll take that last little bit here to reflect, envision, meditate, and just be silent. We'll sit in that peaceful energy and we'll just feel that. Right? Insightful, perceptive, intuitive, keeper of secrets. Okay. What else do we have? Do we have anything else in this one? I don't think so. Co-creation. What? Co-creative leadership. They all can't exist without the other, and they're all kind of supporting each other and holding each other up. But again, there's three that threefold dynamic, kind of in the midst of all of this duality, flatlining, suppression, repression. Do we want to pull out of Art Oracles or Alice in Wonderland Art Oracles? Oh, I know. We'll pull one of the artists out. Maybe two of the artists out. Maybe three of the artists out, because we're talking about co-creating. And then we'll go into the animals here too. Okay. It's gonna take sacrifice. Okay, you have to give up something. It's not like it's the end of the world. You have all these material attachments. You're so attached onto things being a certain way, but there's something you're gonna have to sacrifice and give up in order to co-create. Let's do our artists first. Man, it's like a threshold has been reached, you know, and everything is starting to, all this anticipation, it's going to start to de-escalate here a little bit. Here she is again! This lady just keeps popping out on me. Remembering through art is better than forgetting. Okay? An inference is worth 1,000 appendages. Draw on private pain to connect with the public. Sharing the stories in a non-judgmental way in order to communicate and connect. Right? Sharing the pain. Instead of being in this space where it's like, no, you can't feel pain. Don't talk about painful things or uncomfortable things. Blah, blah, blah. Like, ugh. Yves Klein is our next one. Learn everything from nothing. This is a fresh start. You know, we're coming at this with open minds, new perspectives, a French lens, a fresh lens, a blank slate. Include yourself in your list of materials, right? Yourself, your body, your meat suit. It's material, it's physical, it's the best vessel you have for conveying your spirit across. You know, it's not about the house and the cars and the shoes and all of that. It's about the body, the safety of the body, the security of the body. Enroll in a judo class. Learn how to protect oneself, but I feel like Qigong maybe might be more appropriate. Learning how to use the energies and to move and connect the energies and to consolidate the energies in order to move the things. So you don't have to get in physical fights. You don't have to do that. You can redirect these situations and all the ways these things are happening through that energetic ether, right? Through that plasmatic field. Okay. We're just bringing it all together and bringing it all into alignment. And then connecting up to the crown and up to the higher self, at the top of the toroidal field. Okay? We're bringing that energy down all the way to the bottom of the toroidal field and clearing all that out so that it works harmoniously and it flows harmoniously with all of the things around it, because all of the energies work within this energetic toroidal field. It feels good, doesn't it? It feels good to move the body. Okay? But it's so stiff and locked up and into their little boxes, and you can see how awkward people feel in their bodies versus watching a dancer or somebody who's very fluid and knows their body, knows themselves, knows where every kink, point, pin, scar, all of it is. Where all the emotions are hidden, where all the things are attached, where they know. Okay? I scan my body on a regular basis, head to toe, cleanse through, watch the whole thing, figure out what, where, who, whatever comes up. Okay? Acknowledge it, work through it. Caravaggio. I really do like Caravaggio's work. That darker macabre style. Classic, right? Try to keep violence metaphorical. Yeah, when we're talking about this revolution, this is more of like a silent revolution. This doesn't have to be war, battle, violent, grotesque, bloodlust. Well, this isn't that. Okay? You can use it as a metaphor, but our actions are about peace. Adjust your eyes to the darkness. Literally, it takes about 10 minutes or so for your eyes to adjust to the dark. So it takes a little bit of waiting time, adjustment period, right? But adjust your eyes to the dark. We talked about this one yesterday, of incorporating the light side and the shadow side into an integrated holistic form. You can't have one without the other. You can't know yourself without recognizing being able to see the dark. If you can't walk through the dark, you can't see your own light. You can't see your own light if you don't walk through the dark. If you're walking through the light all the time, right? Just surrounding your thought, then you're never going to see the dark. And if you go into the dark, trust, once your eyes adjust, you're illuminating, right? You can get yourself through this. A head on the shoulders is worth 2 in the hand. Okay? Keeping your head on your shoulders, staying grounded, staying aligned, keeping the heart and the mind in balance and in check, right? And harmonized together is worth a lot freaking more than going out and chopping the heads off of people. It's not going to solve anything. It's just not. We're going to benefit more as a whole if you maintain your composure and picture that brighter future, right? Instead of going around chopping off people's heads. Okay? Those are our 3. Let's get one out of the space here, and then I'll close it off for the day. You can reach out to me for private readings anytime. Please do. Let's take a moment. Start to get ourselves into a space of silence. We'll use these kind of as a reference to ground ourselves in through the last portion of this meditation, okay? Before I do, let's breathe together, 3 deep breaths. Notice the shift. Take note first of how everything is, okay? Ooh, quick check-in, and breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. 1. In through the nose. The out breath should be longer than the in breath. Ready, 3rd one, ready, in. Pause at the top. And out very slowly. Thank you for that. Embrace spirit. 8. The infinity, the toroidal, embracing spirit. Okay? Our body is meant to hold our spirit. Our spirit comes into the body, right? We have to care for that. We have to embrace it through that body scan, right? Embrace spirit. Time to reflect. Okay? So as we go into this silent space here in just a moment, we're going to embrace spirit, and we're going to reflect. Reflect light. Okay? Reflect inwards. The irony of wearing black. Black absorbs light, so it holds it. It holds the light on you. It's not reflecting it back at you, it's holding it. So that light can be interned into the body and can help me reflect within. As it comes out, it's more in alignment, right? You were born to create. We're co-creative. We're born to create. It's in our natural nature. It's not like, well, I don't know how to do that. I hear that a lot. It's such an excuse. It's such a cop-out. It's a bypassing. Oh, I don't know how. Yes, you do. You're a human being. It is in our nature to be creative. It's a mindset. Okay? Nurture all that you love. Be without malice. Okay? We're not going into this violent, malicious, whatever horrific thing. We're going to come in and destroy things. No, we're going to stop. Pause. We're going to go within and we're going to reflect. We're going to find love and connection, and then we're going to come out with creative solutions. Okay? Be patient. Be patient. Especially through this next couple of minutes, because it's going to be uncomfortable. Sitting in silence can be kind of uncomfortable, and it's going to make you want to stir, or you're going to hear something, or want to get distracted, or mind's going to go this way, or want to go that way, and you're going to feel something, and you're going to get uncomfortable, and you're going to want to tap out. But just be patient in that reflection and allow the process to work. We'll look at these three. We'll go into quiet space, and then we'll close this out, okay? You are a spiritual being living a physical life. Told you so. Embrace spirit in your journey and reaffirm your connection with the divine. Told you so. Fly to the heavens, but remember to look down and see that the divine exists in the magical, natural world beneath you. Spirit dwells within all. Told you so. And everything you see and know, and everything that you do not see and which is unknown. Both the creative and the destructive, the beautiful and the ugly are born of the divine. That's all part of it. It's all part of the process, right? You can't know one without the other. And we have gotten to get to know this destructive, dark side of things for a very long time. We're pretty familiar with that. So that means that we are just as equally capable of perceiving the other side of it and experiencing the other side of it now, too. Okay? You're born to create. You were blessed with the ability to create with thought, intention, action, and emotion. Thought, intention, action, and emotion. Be conscious of your power and aware of what your actions and reactions create within and around you. Cherish this gift and use it in both a wise and productive manner. We are not consumers. We are producers. Don't be a consumer. Be a producer. Okay? Produce. Create. I'm not consuming. Create beauty and inspire a desire within others to do the same. Create a future that both fulfills and delights. Do what you were born to do. You're born to create. Do that. Let's sit in that space, okay? Let's go into this. We're going to have time to reflect. I'll read you the card. I'm going to close my eyes and then breathe here for a couple of minutes, and then just invite you in to do the same. And to take a moment and just notice and just feel and be and breathe. Know that you are engaged in participating in this with, at least a couple hundred people. Whoever perceives this, whoever views this, it's a lot of energy. It's a lot to fill yourself with. Okay, there's a lot of light in this space. There's a lot of energy in this space. It can't be created or destroyed. It's everywhere around us. So let's take this moment to reflect and absorb all that energy. Okay. Have you been rushing along, living from one moment to the next without thought or care? Have you failed to notice and acknowledge all that you have achieved and accomplished? Stop. Told you so. Take a moment to pause and reflect upon all that has happened and all that is happening. See how you have grown. See all you have succeeded in accomplishing. Acknowledge and delight in your journey and understand how it has played a part in creating the you who lives in the present. Okay, we're going to reflect on ourselves. We're going to go into this space. Get comfortable, put your feet on the ground, put your feet up. If you got to put your hands in your mudras or whatever feels right to you, right? Wherever you need to hold, wherever you need to be. Okay? We close our eyes and we go inward and we breathe in. We breathe in that light. As we breathe in that light, we start to scan ourselves, our environments, our bodies. We recognize, we reflect on how things have been, how we have been, how we are, what's going on today. Acknowledge it, invite it, let it go. Hold it if you need to. Release. And as you begin the releasing and that reflection, you're just reflecting and reflecting the light around your body. A picture will begin to emerge, a picture of peace, of hope. Maybe it looks abstract. It's just a broken piece of the whole. And my piece, and your piece, and their piece, and their pieces. All the pieces will come together and they will present themselves in the greater picture, in the larger picture. It's miraculous, it's brilliant, something beyond what any of us can perceive for ourselves. It's something we have to do together. And we must be patient in the outcome. Trust and allow. Be at peace. Full breaths. Breathe into every cell in your body. This is a practice. This takes practice. Every day, multiple times a day. Any chance you get, anytime you think about it, take a moment. Stop. Reflect. Get clear. I'm gonna get some more some more sage for us. We're gonna cleanse this out, we'll clear this out energetically with this, and then off to the rest of our day. Show our gratitude, give gratitude. Okay. Thank you for showing up in this space. If you've made it this far, thank you. If you keep showing up, thank you. If it's your first time here, thank you. Come back to this space in another day or two. I'm going to invite my son back into this space this week too. He's fun. Thank you for supporting him too. He loves it. It's very good for his confidence and for mine. little help. Observe in silence.